Welcome back to another edition of the KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast. I'm Beth Accomando. It's Thanksgiving, and I have a special episode all about the films people are thankful for. I speak to some famous people, and some who are just lovers of film. This all started years ago when I asked Guillermo del Toro in 2006 if there was a film he was thankful for. I no longer have the audio from that interview, but I can read what he said. He said, "I'm very thankful for James Whale's Frankenstein because I believe that it is one of the most beautifully articulate ways of saying how we are thrown into this world by a creator that doesn't care for us, and how we have to find our way in it. It's a film that taught me sympathy for the monster."
Friend?
And I'm very thankful for Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver starring Robert De Niro for being a variation on the Frankenstein monster in an urban environment.
You talking to me? Well, then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
Before hearing from the filmmakers, actors, and cinephiles I interviewed, let me list a few films and filmmakers that I'm thankful for to get the ball rolling. I'm thankful for filmmakers who cast spells on us and make us look up in wonder at the screen. I'm thankful for Jean Cocteau's La Belle et la Bête for proving that cinema can be pure magic. To Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki for showing us that the fantastical and the normal can exist side by side. To the French New Wavers for blowing the dust off stale conventions to invest movies with a newfound rebellion. And to Terry Gilliam for proving that there are no limits to what can be imagined on screen, only the restriction of narrow-minded studios.
Now, I want every bit of evil placed in here. Right away.
Of course. Come on. You mean you let all those people die? Just to test your creation?
Yes. You really are a clever boy.
Why did they have to die?
You might as well say, why do we have to have evil?
Oh, we wouldn't dream of asking a question like that, sir.
Yes, why do we have to have evil?
I think it's something to do with free will.
I'm grateful for films that teach us compassion for the monster, from James Whale's Frankenstein to Guillermo del Toro's Cronus and Devil's Backbone, and to the 1933 King Kong, in which a giant ape was so endearing and tragic that I wept when he died.
Well, Denham, the airplane's got him. Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
And thanks to Japan for making me fall in love with men in rubber suits masquerading as giant monsters, especially the one known as Godzilla. I'm thankful for films that appeal to the 13-year-old boy in me like Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
Take these two over to the garage, will you? I want them cleaned up before dinner.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done. Now, come on, get to it.
I give thanks to Paul Newman for the bluest blue eyes and for bucking the system with impertinence. To Errol Flynn for swashbuckling his way through adventures with a rogue's grin that could make me swoon. And to Robert Mitchum for lighting up a cigarette like no one else could.
Cigarette? Smoking.
And I give thanks to women like Louise Brooks and Marlene Dietrich, who seduced with their beauty and wit, to the ever-transforming Tilda Swinton, and to the regal and sexy Helen Mirren. And to all those cinematic clowns who made me laugh till my sides ached, starting with Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd, who needed no words. To Hong Kong's Stephen Chow, who mixed physical and verbal comedy with equal ease. To Carol Lombard, Barbara Stanwyck, and Jean Arthur for their sophisticated screwball comedy. And to Mae West, who could turn any phrase into a suggestive come-on.
I wonder what kind of a woman you really are.
Too bad, but I can't give out samples.
And to the Marx Brothers and Monty Python for their comic anarchy and total lack of respect for authority.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Be quiet! Oh, but you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you. Shut up! Oh, but if I went round saying I was an emperor, Just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they put me away. Shut up! Will you shut up? Ah, now we see the violence inherent in the system. Shut up! Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system! Help, help! I'm being repressed!
I'm also thankful for Myrna Loy and William Powell for letting the world see that marriage could be fun, to Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni for sexy Italian romance, to Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart for teaching us to whistle, and to Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn for showing us that men and women could be equals on screen.
But usually, pretty soon I'll trust you, because you'll trust me. Because what's good for you is good for me, and you for me, see? We're the same, we're equal, we're partners, see? 5-0, 5-0.
To people like Frank Capra, Billy Wilder, and Preston Sturges, who created dialogue that sparkled, zinged, and crackled.
Hello, Maud.
Hello, Snoodles. Where'd you get the pretty girl? You're divorced, of course. No, not quite. Oh, that's marvelous. I don't think I'm quite through with the prince yet either. We can look for new husbands together.
I'm thankful to filmmakers that put the motion in motion pictures. To Jackie Chan, who could make any prop come to life. To John Woo, who choreographed bullet ballets of heroic bloodshed. And to Gene Kelly, who made dance athletic. To cinematic poets like Robert Bresson, Terrence Malick, and Terrence Davies, who know how to tell stories through images. To Mario Bava, Lucio Fulci, and Dario Argento, the masters of Italian horror, who brought an audacious sense of style to genre filmmaking. I offer my deepest gratitude to filmmakers who reject comfortable cinema and have never copped out to a happy ending. To Takeshi Miike for taking us beyond extreme. To David Lynch for making the mundane creepy beyond belief. And to David Cronenberg for knowing exactly how to make you squirm. Okay, and I'm also thankful for zombies, femme fatales, film noir, and paranoid cinema. I'm thankful for moments that take my breath away, like Chow Yun-fat sliding down a banister with two guns blazing and hard-boiled, Grace Kelly's kiss in Rear Window, Sid Charisse's endless legs in Singing in the Rain, the opening shots of Blade Runner, the intoxicating romance of Wong Kar-wai, and Slim Pickens riding a nuke at the end of Dr. Strangelove. I give special thanks to the young filmmakers who were making their first movies when I was most impressionable, especially Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola, and to the recent upstarts like Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, and to Edgar Wright for his meticulous care in making sure that everything he puts into the beginnings of his films pay off in the end, and to the Coens and Hal Hartley who imprint every frame of their films with their unique vision. I'm grateful for the chemistry of Akira Kurosawa and Toshiro Mifune, of Alfred Hitchcock and his cool blonde beauties, of John Ford and John Wayne, and of John Carpenter and Kurt Russell.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
There are still hundreds more films, moments, and people I'm thankful for. So let me just end with the man who gave us a piece of cinematic perfection, Orson Welles, and his feature film debut, Citizen Kane.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Orson Welles. I'm speaking for the Mercury Theater, and what follows is supposed to advertise our first motion picture. Citizen Kane is the title, and we hope it can correctly be called a coming attraction. It's certainly coming to this theater.
So thanks to all of the creative people and wondrous films that have given us so much joy in a darkened theater. Now let's hear from some of the people I interviewed, starting with attendees at this year's TCM Film Festival back in April.
My name is Charlie Tavish. I'm the head of programming for Turner Classic Movies. I think the film that I would say I'm thankful for is Hannah and Her Sisters. I'm a huge Woody Allen fan, and that movie, among other Woody Allen films, I think was brilliantly constructed, used music in a way that made me realize how music could be used, and in several ways it paid homage to classic movies. And so because of that movie, I think I was turned on to some classic actors and classic films, and so I'm very thankful for Hannah and Her Sisters.
And I had to sit down. I went into a movie house. I didn't know what was playing or anything. I just needed a moment to gather my thoughts and be logical and put the world back into rational perspective. went upstairs to the balcony, and I sat down. And, the movie was a film that I'd seen many times in my life since I was a kid, and I always loved it. And, I'm watching these people up on the screen, and I started getting hooked on the film, and I started to feel, how can you even think of killing yourself? I mean, isn't it so stupid? I mean, look at all the people up there on the screen. They're real funny, and what if the worst is true? What if there's no God, and you only go around once, and that's it? Well, don't you want to be part of the experience? What the hell? It's not all a drag. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, I should stop ruining my life searching for answers I'm never going to get and just enjoy it while it lasts.
My name is Millie DeCherico. I'm manager of programming at Turner Classic Movies. A film that I'm very thankful for is the Stanley Kubrick film, A Clockwork Orange.
There was me, that is Alex, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim. And we sat in the Korova Milk Bar trying to make up our razoo dogs what to do with the evening.
That was the first movie I ever saw. I was 8 years old when I saw that movie, and my brain has been scrambled ever since. If it wasn't for that movie, I doubt I would be into I doubt I'd be into film in general, but I definitely would not be into cult movies. And I think that was quite a movie to start off a lifelong love affair of movies with. So that is the movie that I'm thankful for.
So let me ask you, if you saw that when you were 8, when you saw it again at an older age, how did your brain function in terms of connecting the two from seeing it as a young child? And did you suddenly go oh my God, that's what it was about?
Yeah, I immediately felt like some parent should have run interference or something. I just was thinking, I can't even believe that I saw that when I was that young, just because it's just a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that's not appropriate for an 8-year-old. So I almost wanted to parent myself when I saw it again, thinking. And then there's a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on that I figured out later when I watched it. And go, oh, wow, so that's what that was. That's what that sculpture was. Okay, got it. So, yeah, that's kind of how that worked out.
Naughty, 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 you filthy old soonker.
Now, listen here, you little bastard. Just turn round and walk out of here the same way as you came in. Leave that alone, don't touch it. It's a very important work of art.
My name is Lance St. Laurent, and I'm a graduate film student at USC and just a longtime cinephile. And a movie I'm personally thankful for is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I don't watch it every day, and I've grown out of it a little bit, but it hit me at a certain point in my life when I felt like the world is bigger than I realize, and the world is weirder and crazier, and that there are more people like me with bizarre ideas who make dark, twisted films, and I'm from Arkansas, and so everything felt very small and insular. And that movie broadened my mind in ways that I think brought me here.
I'm Will McKinley. I'm a writer and classic film blogger. I run a blog called Cinematically Insane. The film I am most thankful for is the Marx Brothers film A Night at the Opera from 1935, directed by Sam Wood. I discovered this film when I was 9 years old on vacation with my parents in Puerto Rico. And my parents wanted to go to the casino, and they needed somewhere to stow the children. And the little movie theater in the hotel was showing A Night at the Opera, and my father was like, "You're going to love this, kid." So I watched it, and I was like a 9-year-old smart aleck, and I found my God. I found the man upon whom I would base the rest of my existence on this earth in the 30 or 40 years since then, and that was Groucho Marx.
Will you do me a favor and stop yelling my name all over this restaurant? Do I go around yelling your name?
Mr. Driftwood.
Say, is your voice changing, or is somebody else paging me around here?
Mr. Driftwood.
Why, Mrs. Claypool, hello.
It was probably the greatest revelation of my life, still not surpassed, in the 35 or so years since. So probably the film I am most thankful for is the Marx Brothers in A Night at the Opera.
If any of the parties participating in this contract are shown not to be in their right mind, the entire agreement is automatically nullified.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right. That's in every contract. That's what they call a sanity clause.
You can't fool me. There ain't no sanity clause.
Hi, my name is Joel Williams. I tweet a lot on Twitter. You can reach me on Twitter at #TCMParty, where we live tweet classic films on TCM. And the film that I'm most thankful for is an Italian film called Nights of Cabiria.
Le notti di Cabiria, 188A, quarta. Silenzio!
It's a wonderful little film made by Federico Fellini with his wife in the lead role. And it's the first time that I saw a film where my heart was breaking for the character in the film. If you've never seen it, please go out and see it. It's a woman who goes through so many trials in her life, and at the end of the film, she is so resilient and comes through it somehow. That's what I'm thankful for.
My name's Jake, and I am a student and cinephile. I'm thankful for the movie Boys Town with Spencer Tracy and Mickey Rooney because it's a movie that my family and I return to every year at Christmas.
I'm Father Flanagan. I saw your brother Joe just a little while ago. We had a long talk about you, Whitey. Joe wants you to come to Boys Town with me.
If you think you're going to make a plow jockey out of me, you got another thing coming.
Now, look, Whitey, in a pinch, I can be tougher than you are, and I guess maybe this is the pinch.
Even though I don't think it's the best movie in the world, I think there's some pretty clear flaws. It's always moving, and it's become kind of a family staple that's brought us together.
My name's Dave Hovenden. I am a classic movie buff, and the movie that I'm thankful for is Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious. Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, it's perfect watching them light up on screen. They have so much amazing chemistry together, and the whole spy thriller plot, it's a perfect movie for me.
Are there any scenes in particular that stand out?
The infamous kissing scene.
Let's not go out for dinner. Let's stay here.
We have to eat.
We can eat here. I'll cook.
Because of the code, they couldn't kiss longer than 3 seconds, so they kept breaking apart, kissing, breaking apart, and it was just so amazing and so romantic and so sensual that it's an amazing scene that, thanks to the code, we were able to get it.
This is a very strange love affair.
Why?
Maybe the fact that you don't love me.
My name is Mike Bursick. I'm down from Seattle. I'm a movie lover and first-time Turner Classic Movie Film Festival attendee. A movie that I'm thankful for is Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise.
Put a spell on you.
In addition to the fantastic performances, especially by John Lurie, it's filmed in a pretty, almost bleak, black and white fashion, grainy and stark, and a lot of it takes place in a pretty bleak landscape, both urban and environmental in terms of being cold. But overall, with the music and the plot and the dialogue, it paints an incredibly warm portrait of human interaction. And it nourishes me.
Hi, I'm Ann Hawkins. I'm the Director of Communications for the Film Noir Foundation, and I am grateful for The Thin Man.
Say, how many drinks have you had?
This will make 6 martinis.
All right. Will you bring me 5 more martinis? Leo, line them right up here.
Yes.
And it turned me into a lover of classic cinema, and I think it made me realize that life was meant to be enjoyed. So that's definitely what I'm grateful for. I'm also grateful for pretty much everything John Ford directed, because no matter what's going on in my life, if I put on one of his films, I'm completely absorbed in the film and away from everything else.
It's a wonderful picture. The finest ever brought to the screen by John Ford, and he's won 3 Academy Awards. His direction makes unforgettable the performances of John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, Barry Fitzgerald, and Victor McLaglen.
My name is Miguel Rodriguez, and I direct San Diego's Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and I am one of Film Geeks San Diego. Choosing what film to be thankful for, of course, is very difficult. I was going to say 1933's King Kong, because Film Geek San Diego will be bringing that to the big screen at the Museum of Photographic Arts in January.
Wild, weird, wonderful. The stuff for which movies were made. Adventure, to make you wonder if it's true, while your eyes convince you that it is. Truly, the thrill of thrills. Don't miss it this time.
And I am still thankful for that film, but I got to thinking about the special effects and one of the reasons that film is so memorable. And I wanted to go back a little bit farther than that, and I'm going to go with Metropolis. And I'm going to go with also the visual effects artist, specifically on Metropolis, Eugene Shuftan, who invented for that film something called the Shuftan process, which is kind of a smoke and mirrors way to blend miniatures with real-life actors in a convincing way. And the reason I am thankful for that is because it revealed a whole new way that the experimenters and the innovators of early cinema could tackle fantasy and unrealistic things in a new way that up until that point was not even thought of as possible. The film I'm thankful for is Metropolis.
Groovy. Hello, my name is Aaron Soto. I'm a horror filmmaker from Mexico. I'm really thankful for the Evil Dead movie directed by Sam Raimi. That movie really changed my life and really showed me that I can do anything. I can be independent. I can put the camera wherever I want to put the camera. And overall, that I can have an actor who is over the top, charismatic, and at the same time, intense. Between 1988 and 1990, I watched that movie almost every day eating breakfast.
And you still love it?
It's still my favorite movie ever, and Bruce Campbell is still the best actor ever.
I'm badass, and you're good ass. You're goody little two shoes. You're goody little two shoes, goody little two shoes. Little goody two shoes, 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 little goody two shoes. Oh! Little goody two shoes.
I'm Billy Hansen. I'm a writer and filmmaker, director of Survivor Type, and I am thankful for the film The Wages of Fear, which was from the 1950s. It's a French film.
Stop! Stop!
That has been one of the biggest influences on me as a director because it is the most suspenseful thing I've ever seen. Hands down, from the beginning to the end is knuckle-clenching fear, and I haven't seen that matched in the last 60 years of film.
Do you feel that was about the editing? Was that, like, did you become conscious of editing at that film, or what was it? Did you know anything in particular?
It was partly the editing and a lot of the shot design and the restraint that the director had. It was Clouseau, who was sort of famous for those really, really suspenseful stories. And I just remember how, just restrained he was. There was no music over a lot of these scenes, and everything was just so close. And what he chose to focus on in every single frame just really amped up the suspense like I'd never seen before. The conceit of the story is that these four guys have to drive two rickety trucks filled with nitroglycerin across rough terrain in South America to stop an oil fire, basically. And nitroglycerin, if you bump it, the slightest little bump, it will explode. So the entire movie is just them on the verge of death with any slight mistake or anything like that, they would just all die. And it's terrifying.
Hi, I am Cody Goodfellow. My most recent book is a collection of short stories, Rapture of the Deep and Other Lovecraftian Tales from Hippocampus Press. The film I'm most thankful for, I mean, as a life-changing thing, I would have to say John Carpenter's The Thing. When I saw it, I was dropped off at the movie theater to see Megaforce, and these guys came out of the theater and they were like, "Oh my God, little dudes, you guys are gonna flip. This guy, his head came off." And then his friend went, "No, man, they're going to see some kid movie." And by God, we were not going to see the kid movie after that. The gauntlet had been tossed. So we snuck out of Megaforce. And we went and saw The Thing. And it was and continues to be a revelation in that it's a marvel of people who, well, in bad horror films, you can't gauge horror films, on the same terms that you gauge Oscar winners and stuff. You have to gauge them in terms of how real and compelling that reality is. How much do those people want to survive? And you see really intelligent people striving their uttermost, fighting tooth and nail to survive. So you're seeing people striving to survive in a completely impossible situation. And when something really influences you, a lot of times you don't even notice it. You have to hear it from other people. And it's not that people say, "Yeah, this guy's fiction reminds me of The Thing," although that's the kind of monster that I hunger to create and turn loose on people. But so often the theme of survival and how people face survival and grimly bowl on ahead when there's no chance to get out, when they know they're doomed. The Thing, if it wasn't in there before, at least The Thing magnetically aligned it in my mind so that, that's the kind of the ideal of how I would think people should behave when they're faced with the impossible and the unknowable. And it's the best version of the unknowable that I've ever seen. It's one of those films that I go to for comfort food, in the sense that I've watched it again and again and again, well over 200 times, and could watch it again today. For me, that's the film that I'm most thankful for. And in what terms it made of what you could do in a film. Very reputable critics were they despised it. They wanted it not to exist. They tried to curse it out of existence. This is some sort of awful porn. And Rob Bottin, the guy who made the monsters for it, was at first considered for an Oscar, and then the rest of the special effects makeup community came down on him and said, "This isn't makeup. It's just making a bunch of mannequins and monsters and crap." And then the Oscars, year in and year out, go for old age makeup and stuff like that. Not something really fantastic that pushed the boundaries. But as in terms of practical effects, you watch it today, it's unmatched. It still looks like something real. And that's the apex of what a horror film can do, if it makes the impossible undeniably real. And for me, that sets a standard for the kind of thing the kind of effect that I would hope to achieve in my best work.
Fire's got the temperature up all over the camp. Won't last long, though.
Neither will we.
How will we make it?
Maybe we should.
I'm Izzy Lee, the director of Postpartum, Legitimate Picket, Innsmouth, and a couple other fine things hopefully you'll get to see the light of day of soon. And I am thankful for John Carpenter's The Thing, because it is it's one of the most perfect films ever made. It's relentless dread and oppression of the Arctic ice and the special effects by Rob Bottin and Kurt Russell. I mean, Jesus. You can't, and then, oh my God, Alan Howarth and John Carpenter's score. Holy fuck, you can't go wrong with The Thing. And I am grateful that it exists, and I am grateful that Scream Factory is putting out a super duper Blu-ray next month.
My name is Casey Lansdale, and the film that I am most thankful for is The Wizard of Oz.
Who killed my sister? Who killed the Witch of the East? Was it you?
No, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill anybody.
Well, my little pretty, I can cause accidents too.
Aren't you forgetting the ruby slippers?
Slippers, yes.
It is the first time that I saw fantasy, science fiction, animals, music, everything that fascinated me as a child and even to this day in one place. To hear Judy Garland sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. And then to see her go to this magical fantasy land, I was just amazed.
Take your army to the haunted forest and bring me that girl and her dog. Do what you like with the others, but I want her alive and unharmed. Now fly! Fly!
And then the flying monkeys, there's that horrific element. Just all of the things that I'm doing now as an adult, I can see how so many facets of The Wizard of Oz influenced that and kind of gave me that permission to say, you can mix and match things that you love. You can find a way to have music but still be in a fantasy land and have a story that has heart and show that you're more than just a flat dimension. So definitely thankful for The Wizard of Oz.
Hi, I'm Mark Brown, and I am the writer of Stained. And the film I'm thankful for, again, not technically a horror, but it is scary as anything to me, and it's The Wizard of Oz. That is the first film I remember ever seeing, and I watched it about every day for 3 years, and I can literally quote every single bit of it. And it just has everything, and it taught me that fear and comedy and sadness and tragedy and everything can, all just fit seamlessly together. Anyway, yes, The Wizard of Oz. That would be The Wizard of Oz because it's got the scariest bad guy in cinematic history, pretty much.
The last to go will see the first 3 go before her. And her mangy little dog, too.
In The Wicked Witch, and the kind of the position that Dorothy is in, just that kind of alone in a very strange place with some very cool friends, is it kind of stuck with me forever, and it's been very influential on me, and I love it.
You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world! Who thought a good little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness? Ah, look out! Look out! I'm going!
Hi, I'm Phil Hain. I'm the director and producer of Stained, and the film I am most thankful for is not actually a feature film, it's Michael Jackson's Thriller, because when I was a kid, a very young kid, my dad took me into we were in a TV store for some reason, buying a TV perhaps, and Michael Jackson came on the screen. I was a massive fan, and so I watched it, and I had no idea what was about to happen. So when he turned into the werewolf, I absolutely freaked out and had to be carried out of there. I think I was maybe 7 or 8, something like that. And that kind of gave me like this absolute fear of werewolf films, which I didn't get over for a long time. But it was just, as a filmic moment in my life, I'm very thankful for it because, it led me on to so many other stuff. It was quite a watershed moment in my young life.
Hi, I'm John Skipp, writer of The Art of Horrible People and director of Tales of Halloween, one of several directors. The film in the entire world that I'm most grateful for, and there are a lot of them, but the clearest one is a movie called Tampopo. It's a Japanese noodle western. And it's about food as it relates to every aspect of Japanese culture, from birth to death, to crime, to dentistry, to business, and just to sex. It has the best food sex scenes of any film I've ever seen. What I love about it, it's kind of like a Japanese Woody Allen film from like his earlier period, the funny ones. What's amazing, it's episodic, but it's also, it's a story about why food matters and on all of the levels that it matters. Food to me had always been something that I liked and that I knew I had to eat or I would keel over, particularly in like long creative jags where often you forget to do stuff like that. But I think after seeing Tampopo, I relished the preparation, the texture, the meaning behind things, the rituals behind things. That movie made me more alive than any other 2 hours sitting in front of a screen I've ever seen, and for that I am forever grateful.
Hi, this is Justin Denton, and I am the director and co-writer of Burlap and Burlap VR Reflections. And the film that I am thankful for is Silence of the Lambs.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
When I first saw Silence of the Lambs, I was staying up past my bedtime and looking out from behind the couch while my sister was on a date. And she was watching the film, and I wasn't supposed to be. And it had one of those impacts on me where, A, I couldn't sleep after I watched it, and B, it made me really understand that the psychology of a killer is something that's so necessary if you really want your audience to buy into what's going on screen and truly be terrified well past the film is over.
Well, I've read the case files, have you? Everything you need to find him is right there in those pages.
And tell me how.
First, principles, Clarice. Simplicity. Read Marcus Aurelius. Of each particular thing, ask, what is it in itself? What is its nature? What does he do, this man you seek?
He kills women.
No, that is incidental.
My name is Victor LaRuccia. I'm the executive director of the San Diego Italian Film Festival. And while Beth has asked me to name one film that I'm grateful for, since I'm Italian, I need more than one dish. And so I'm going to name two. The first of which is The Seventh Seal. I saw that when I was at Yale, a little funky theater. I had never seen a theater like that before. Midwestern kid going to this eastern city in basically what's a garage. And I was just so blown away that I couldn't go to sleep for 2 days. So that introduced me to what I think of as real film. But the other, and the one that I probably have as the passionate primary dish of my life, is Chinatown. Not only because it's a fabulous film, and I love it. I love that opening scene with the photographs and that great horn over it. It just blows me away every time I think about it. But it is the place where I knew that I had fallen in love with the woman that I was with and who's been my wife for quite a long time. Chinatown was very romantic. It was a spectacular film, but at the same time, it also had one particular scene which I will never forget. Looking at one of the houses, I was thinking of my grandmother. I turned to Janice and I said, "God, who would live in a place like that anymore?" And she says, "I do," because she was from Pasadena. And that just simply set the whole thing for me. Chinatown is probably a peak moment for me cinematically and romantically.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Hello, I'm Diana Agostini. I'm the Associate Executive Director for the San Diego Italian Film Festival. And I was asked a very hard question by Beth, which is, which movie are you thankful for? And of course, on the spot, I cannot think of a movie, but I can think of something that really made me, interested in movies, but also kind of changed my development as a kid, probably. I don't know if for the better or the worse. I remember being this little kid and sneaking into the living room while my older sister was watching Twin Peaks. And my eyes could not just get off the TV, not even when Bob was peeking behind the couch and then just peeking behind my dreams basically every other night. And I do have memories of that, as I still remember how it was just crazy for me as a kid to see all these symbolisms that didn't really make sense. And then as a grown-up trying to watch it again, still being very scared, but getting it even more. And then of course watching all of his movies and becoming a fan of David Lynch and his work.
Albert, listen. If you come up through Lewis Fork, I can recommend a place for lunch. The Lamplighter Inn. They got a cherry pie there that'll kill you.
My name is Joseph Thomas. I'm the director of the National Center for the Study of Children's Literature, and I'm thankful for David Lynch's Eraserhead.
Answer me.
I'm too nervous.
There's a baby. It's at the hospital.
Mom!
And you're the father.
But that's impossible. It's only
Mother,
been...
they're still not sure it is a baby.
It's premature, but there's a baby. After the two of you are married, which should be very soon, you can pick the baby up.
Because of that crazy little calf fetus baby, and it's mewling.
I'm Nick Ravelis. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for San Diego Opera. The film that I'm thankful for, it's a very strange and off-the-wall choice, I think, and it's the film Love is a Many-Splendored Thing with William Holden and Jennifer Jones. And you might wonder, well, why on earth would you be thankful for that? Well, because it's the first movie I ever saw.
Starring William Holden, who tops all of his memorable performances as Mark Elliott, foreign correspondent, American and married. And Jennifer Jones, superbly portraying the beautiful Eurasian girl Han Soo-yin, whose love defied a world of convention.
It wouldn't be good for you to see too much of me anyhow. Might even be harmful.
Oh? Why?
I'm Eurasian. The word itself seems to suggest a certain moral laxity in the minds of some people.
I saw it at a drive-in, which of course no longer exists. Going to the movies started with sitting in the back seat, my mother driving, and my brother and I in the back seat watching this rather adult film. I don't remember much about it from that time, but then saw it on TCM not terribly long ago, and I thought, oh my God, this is awful. but I am thankful for the fact that it opened at the Crest Theater, the Midway Drive-In in Oceanside, and my mother took me there. It must have been 1955 or 56, something like that. But yeah, that'd be it.
We have not missed, you and I. We have not missed that many-splendored thing.
Hi, my name is Joe DiPietro, and I'm a playwright, and my newest play called Hollywood, which is about a murder during the silent film era, premiered this season at the Great La Jolla Playhouse. And the film I'm most thankful for is Sunset Boulevard, Billy Wilder's great, great movie starring the great Gloria Swanson.
Wait a minute, haven't I seen you before? I know your face.
Get out, or shall I call my servant?
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
And I'm thankful for it because as I sit here thinking about Hollywood and the play, I don't think there's ever been a better, more heartfelt and creepier depiction of Hollywood and its effect on people and actresses than Sunset Boulevard. And if you haven't seen Sunset Boulevard, do yourself a favor, go home, rent it, turn out the lights, and watch it. It's just magnificent.
And is there any particular moment or element of it, scene, line that you particularly like?
There are so many lines in Sunset Boulevard, it'd be hard to to pick one. But the end, when she is leaving, and I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but when she is leaving her home and she's walking to the camera, it's just as chilling a statement about modern celebrity and fame as ever been portrayed.
I can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy. Mr. DeMille, do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you. I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again. You don't know how much I've missed all of you. And I promise you I'll never desert you again. Because after Salome, we'll make another picture and another picture. You see, this is my life. It always will be. There's nothing else. Just us. And the cameras. And those wonderful people out there in the dark. All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hi, I'm Sans Dixon, and I am an independent filmmaker. The film I'm most thankful for is actually James Cameron's The Abyss.
From James Cameron, the writer and director of The Terminator and Aliens, comes The Abyss.
God, I hate that bitch.
probably shouldn't have married her then, huh?
Hang on, gentlemen.
And the reason why is, as a kid, I was obsessed with water, underwater. I wanted to be Jacques Cousteau so bad. The idea of going around the world and maybe seeing what was under the ocean was actually more exciting to me than seeing what was in space, because, you know, it's on Earth. And the abyss, you know, I don't know how accurate it was then or now, but it kind of was my first glimpse into that.
It was alive. It was like a dance of light. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't think they mean us any harm. I don't know how I know that.
It was this fantastical world that felt unbelievable, but it was set convincingly in the real world. So for as outlandish as the ideas were, I bought into them. Granted, I was like, 12, but that's the film that kind of made me believe that anything is possible as far as cinema. And another reason is it's the first time I really noticed how important it is for a cast to gel. That's one of the first films where I noticed how even the characters that are on the screen for just 5 minutes, how important they can be to the overall storyline. So that's my film, The Abyss.
Hello, I'm Yazdi Pithabala, a podcaster and film reviewer for moviewalas.com. And I'm thankful for the films of two great Japanese filmmakers. Miyazaki, of course. I love everything about Miyazaki, and I just am gutted that he's not going to make any more movies, but he's left us a great treasure trove. And Spirited Away is a movie that keeps giving me. It keeps giving me. Every time I watch it, I get more out of it.
From master filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki.
What is it?
Come on, let's go in. I want to see what's on the other side.
Where are you going? Hey! You said just a quick look! Now let's go back!
You shouldn't be here. Get out of here, now!
What?
Leave before it gets dark. You've got to get across the river. Go! I'll distract them.
I love the fact that there is nothing predictable about his movies. I like that he has created his own world, in a way. I mean, if you watch all of his movies, there is a theme of environmental friendliness, about forest creatures. And he seems to very easily go in between what's on the terrain and what's subterranean, almost with the spiritual world and the ground-bound world. He kind of very easily goes between those two. All his creatures exist in both of those spaces very easily. And I love that he's so open in terms of his view of everything that's around us, what we can see and what we cannot see. And then the other filmmaker who I think is probably the most human filmmaker working right now is Hirokazu Koreeda. I think in the last 10 years, the one movie that I've seen more than any other is Still Walking. And that's a movie which it's very specific about a family in Japan, but it's about every one of us. I cannot get enough of it. It's my place to go when I'm unhappy, when I'm looking to find the unknowables in life.
Hi, I'm Saw, and I am a movie fan. Longshoreman here in San Diego. The movie I'm really, really thankful for, my first movie that I saw with my mom and my aunt and my sister when I was a little kid, was E.T.
E.T., can you say that? Can you say E.T.? E.T.
E.T. E.T. E.T. E.T.
I was too small, too little to really appreciate, but I look over and I saw my mom crying, and you know what? It made me cry. And I just remember that every single time I see E.T. anywhere, and I'm really thankful for E.T.
I'll be right here.
Hi, I'm Jeff Alderman, and I'm a big horror movie fan. And the movie that I'm thankful for is a new one called The Pack by Nick Robertson, because it brings back successfully the feel of the birds and matches Daphne du Maurier's original novel in some ways. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Did you hear something?
Stay back.
Who's out there?
Close all the windows.
There's someone trying to break into our house.
I think what really got me was this small family isolated in their home and up against the forces of nature, so to speak. So, and that really captured the feel of the movie. So that's what did it for me.
I'm Gil Magana. I grew up in a very small town that was actually a census-designated place in Northern California, and most of the time I spent growing up reading a lot of books on film and music. And the film that I tend to be thankful for is The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie.
I am in the business of putting old heads on young shoulders, and all my pupils are the creme de la creme. Give me a girl at an impressionable age, and she is mine for life.
I found that in my late teens, and it's this drama from 1969, which Maggie Smith is in, and it's just great to watch. She chews up the scenery in that movie, and it has some great acting by Pamela Franklin and some other actors in it. It's one of those movies that almost even fits as a great double bill of Mommy Dearest in the way of something that would be great for like a double bill of gay camp cinema. It's not really camp, but it's just the way that Maggie Smith owns the role of Muriel Sparks' character of Jean Brodie. It's just something to be seen, the way that she treats the dialogue, everything that she does with that performance. I think it's one of the great, somewhat forgotten performances of the 1960s. And it's just worth revisiting for that reason alone. It's always a treat to watch. I don't ever get tired of it.
I am a teacher first, last, always. Do you imagine that for one instant I will let that be taken from me without a fight? I have dedicated, sacrificed my life to this profession, and I will not stand by like an inky little slacker and watch you rob me of it. And for what? For what reason? For jealousy. Because I have the gift of claiming girls for my own. It is true, I am a strong influence on my girls. I am proud of it. I influence them to be aware of all the possibilities of life, of beauty, honor, courage. I do not, Miss Mackay, influence them to look for slime where it does not exist. I am going. When my class convenes, my pupils will find me composed and prepared to reveal to them the succession of the Stuarts.
I'm Jamie Ian Swiss, and I am a magician and a writer and a film buff, and I'm particularly fond of horror as a form of film, and I am particularly thankful for George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
What the hell are they?
They're us, that's all. There's no more room in hell.
What?
Something my granddaddy used to tell us. You know Macumba? Voodoo. Granddad was a priest in Trinidad. Used to tell us, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Like all great horror, this is a quintessential example that despite everything that's frightening and violent and so forth, ultimately, like most good horror films, it is life-affirming. It's actually a hopeful and positive thing. And it shows how when people band together against a common enemy, they can still find beauty and wonder and goodness in the world. I think it's a wonderful film.
Are there any particular scenes that stand out for you?
It's just the idea that as things get worse and worse, they get more and more optimistic. Like they just don't give up. We're just going to keep, to the battle. And so when the last couple of survivors take off at the very end, we don't know what they're headed for, but they're going to keep up the battle. And in dark times, that's the lesson that we all have to learn, that we have to keep up the battle.
There's an awful lot of stuff down there that we could use.
I know it.
It's a big place. But they're pretty spread out down there. I think we can outrun them.
Hit and run?
Hit and run.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff Pearson, and this is
Laurie Pearson, his beautiful wife.
And I think we're both grateful for different movies, but for the same reason. Laurie's grateful for
The Fly, because it's the first interesting movie that my dad insisted that my sister and I watch.
Will everyone in the theater hold on firmly to his seat,
please.
And it's provided lots of great lines throughout the years that we've had together, particularly "Help me, help me."
And mine was actually the double feature of James Bond, Thunderball, and From Russia with Love. Basically, it's my dad made a habit of just taking me to movies all the time, just father-son times, and it was just grateful for the memories for that. And neat gadgets, too, and Bond girls. All right, thanks, Dad. This is like 1962, 63. And I was a kid, and it was James Bond, and there were gorgeous women and gadgets. And it was a double feature, because everything was double features back then.
Can one motion picture possibly contain all this? No, it takes two. And not just any two. John Connery as James Bond in Thunderball and You Only Live Twice, now on the same program, rated GP.
2 movies for the price of one. And we had balconies, too, in old theaters. Remember sit up in the balconies?
We watched at home, and he insisted on that one, and we also watched A Raisin in the Sun together, which didn't stick with me as much. I knew it was important, but I don't think I grasped it as much as, just the fun oddball part of a half man, half fly thing. So that's what stuck with me.
Hi, my name is Jose Iturriaga. I'm a designer and storyboard artist, and the film I'm thankful for is Tron.
The computer, an extension of the human intellect. The NCOM 511, center of the most calculating intelligence on Earth, programmed by Master Control to survive by all means. Soon, the ultimate tool will become the ultimate enemy.
The original 1982 movie. It's one of the few movies that when I was a kid, I actually got the chance to see twice, which was kind of unheard of, at least in my home. The reason I'm thankful for it is because even though I'm a huge Star Wars fan, Tron was so weird and different from anything I've seen before in theaters that it caught my imagination in ways that maybe other movies hadn't. And it was maybe because of the then it was cutting edge CGI, but now it's kind of crude and it looks something that anybody can do on their phones perhaps. So the reason I'm thankful for it is because it inspired me to eventually become an industrial designer. One of the people in charge of the look of it was Sid Mead, who's an amazing artist who worked on Blade Runner and Aliens and Tron. And I actually was lucky enough to just meet him yesterday, which was kind of like rekindled that gratefulness of being able to enjoy that movie so much, and I'm thankful for that.
Awesome. Do you remember anything in particular in terms of any scenes or anything?
Well, obviously the bike scene is kind of like the ultimate and classical signature look of Tron.
Split up, take them one on one.
Just the idea of building a vehicle pretty much out of the blue was so mind-boggling to me. It was like, wow, that's amazing. And the one thing, years later, I came to understand that how cutting edge it was back then, because he was talking about stuff that nobody else except the computer geeks would talk about. Having your kind of like your avatar persona on the computer back then was like, it was science fiction, and it's what we live nowadays every day. Everybody has their own computer persona, either on Twitter, on your Facebook, on your Second Life or whatever. So I think that's part of it too.
This is it. Come on.
My name is Charles Kaufman. I own Bread and Sea Bakery and Cafe and used to make films. And now, of course, bake bread. I'm thankful for a film that was made in 1979 called Mother's Day.
Somewhere in the woods of Deep Barren, a woman and her sons live in isolation. When they come out, it's for one reason only.
Now let's see what you brought, Mother.
Some say she spoiled her boys. Some say she drove them mad. No one who found out has lived to tell.
Which I made. But actually, before that, I was thankful for another film before it, which kind of got me involved in the horror genre, and I saw it as a kid, called Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Listen to me. Please, listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
It was nothing like I had ever seen before. And it was scary, but it was also weird, and it was fun, and it also provoked one's imagination. Also, there were some hot girls in it too, but that was back before when you could say that kind of thing.
Was that a film that made you interested in making films?
Nope. The reason why I began making films was I loved films, but I also couldn't do anything else particularly well, and I wanted to get girls. But I loved films, and started to make little films, and they seemed to be well received. And then I made an initial feature that did well, and all of a sudden I thought, okay, I'll try this until I can no longer do it, until I can no longer pay for my apartment rent.
And then you decided to make bread.
And then I decided to make bread, correct.
I'm Bill Romero. I'm an old film buff, and I'm thankful for two films. One is the first film that I really remember as a child. It was shown on television on our old black and white, so I didn't even know that it was in color, and that was Howard Hawks' Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, starring Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell.
I like a man who can run faster than I can.
I hate to think where you'll wind up. You're wasting all your time on unrefined persons without any money.
Honey, did it ever occur to you that some people just don't care about money?
Please don't be silly. We're talking serious. You don't want to end up with a loveless marriage, do you?
Me? Loveless?
That's right. Because if a girl's spending all of her time worrying about the money she doesn't have, how is she going to have any time for being in love? I want you to find happiness and stop having fun.
It's one of those films that's so clever and amazing, and it really got me excited about the process. Not only just the actress Marilyn Monroe, but also the process of how the film was put together, and the witty lines and the cleverness of it all. And I think I was all of 6 or 7 years old when I watched it, but I was absolutely fascinated. The interplay between the two women, and then when I finally, as an adult, got to see the film in its full glorious Technicolor, it's just eye-popping. And I'm always thankful anytime I can watch it. And the other film that I'm thankful for is late in his career, Ken Russell made a filmic adaptation of Oscar Wilde's Salome. And he sets the film so it's a staging of it within the story, and it's Oscar Wilde goes to his favorite bordello, and it's his birthday, and his friends celebrate his birthday by staging his new recently banned play Salome on the stage in the bordello.
In 1892, Oscar Wilde's Salome was banned by British law.
There is only one thing worse than to be talked about, and that is not to be talked about.
Now, you're invited to enjoy the forbidden.
In defiance of the law and in honor of our greatest playwright, the premiere of Salome will take place here tonight
Let the play commence.
The young actress that ends up playing Salome is a Cockney maid, and she is incredibly brilliant, and it's an amazing, wonderful, astounding performance from her and from everyone in the film. And it just astonishes me every time I watch it, because he's constantly bringing us back to reality by reminding us that we're watching something on stage, that's something that's completely artificial. And of course, Wilde loved artifice, and it's just so amazing. He keeps showing, someone runs out and lays a piece of red glass to pretend to be a puddle of blood. There's a painted moon in the background, and yet the dialogue, Wilde's writing, is just so vivid and intense and colorful and amazing. It's just so good, and I highly would recommend Salome's Last Dance.
Dance me, Salome.
I don't want her to dance.
I have no desire to dance, Tetrarch.
Salome, daughter of Herodias, dance for me.
Leave her alone.
I command you to dance for me, Salome.
I will not dance, Tetrarch.
See how she obeys you.
My name is Gael García Bernal, and I'm very thankful for these films that that introduce me to cinema, but introduce me also as a character, as myself in cinema. And I would say that is the 400 Blows. Because I felt I was in that film. I felt a kid living that movie. And there are many films that made me feel that. But 400 Blows was one of the first ones, together with when I saw Los Olvidados, I also felt that. I also, the films with kids, made me feel I was part of a movie, as opposed to watch something in space or something. I was very thankful that I felt that my life could be in a movie, and I think that those type of movies, Los Olvidados, Pichote, 400 Blows, and then many throughout my the post adolescence thing, but those films, they made me feel like I was part of a movie. I was into a movie.
I'm Jonás Cuarón, and I guess the movie that I'm the most thankful to is A Man Escapes by Bresson. Which, when I saw it, it was the first time I always wanted to be a writer, but it wasn't until I saw that film that I realized how powerful cinema can be as a language, where with almost no dialogues, with no words, it can transmit such a powerful story.
So French, we went so French.
So that's why I was doubting, because I don't know how many people know those. And you also went so French.
By now,
they're gonna think, those Mexicans.
Yeah, but I wanted to start with Los Olvidados. Come on. Los Olvidados.
I was gonna make my Tu Mamá También joke, but
because yes, you have to say it. He's really, what he's really thankful of?
What?
His name is Jonás Cuarón, and you know which film he's really thankful of? Tu Mamá También, because it gave him the sexual education he needed. He so desperately needed.
As a teenager.
We did it, that was our motivation.
And now I have 10 kids, so.
Exactly. So he didn't get it.
Well, thank you both very much for coming out here to San Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you
Gracias.
very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this special holiday edition of the listener-supported KPBS Cinema Junkie podcast. I hope this makes you think of some of the things in cinema that you're thankful for. In keeping with the holiday spirit, I go out with music from the Mark Nutter, Cynthia Carl show, Christmas Smackdown. It runs December 8th, 9th, and 10th at Hollenbeck's in LA. I'll be speaking with them in December about Christmas Smackdown, Reanimator the Musical, and the art and craft of creating a modern musical. So till our next Film Fix, I'm Beth Accomando, your resident cinema junkie, and I leave you with this naughty little Santa Claus lives in your mind. Be patient and listen till the end.
You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows that you're maturing with every breath you take. He knows that you've had feelings that make you warm down there when thinking of a teacher or straddling a chair. He knows you've been exploring. He knows your hands have found their way beneath the covers to roam and poke around. You can't keep it a secret, 'cause Santa knows you well. That's why he's gonna send you straight down to Christmas hell. And there you'll suffer torment beyond your wildest dreams. The sound of sleigh bells jingling will cover up your screams. They'll tie your hands behind you in a pretty Christmas bow, then feed you rancid eggnog beneath the mistletoe. You'll choke on Christmas cookies with bits of broken glass, while elves with flaming pitchforks impale your naked ass. And so for endless eons you'll tremble and you'll quake at the power of Saint Nicholas. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.